working on the impacts that have happened this year. I know today I did talk about the storm. Well, I talked about adaptation, how we're gonna adapt. So that's one thing we're gonna work on. So yeah, just to let you guys know how it happened and compare it. We're gonna compare it basically to all the other times that the storms have done the impacts. So first we'll start with Milton. We're gonna start off with last hurricanes. Yeah, the last hurricanes that have happened, to the hurricanes from a long time ago. So first, let's start with Milton. Milton was a Category 5 hurricane. Made landfall as a Category 3 hurricane, and it had done destruction and impact inside of Florida, and it actually formed across in the Pacific Ocean, if you guys didn't know, went across Mexico, and then it formed in the Gulf of Mexico. And when it forms in the Gulf of Mexico, that's how you know it's going to get strong, because the Gulf of Mexico during a La Nina season is very high temperature. And right here, in this spot where my mouse is right here, that's where Debbie got its power. No, not Debbie. Helen got its power to be Category 4. So that's how we know that. And basically, when we start knowing about that, that's how we get more information. By the way, also, it gained power from there because it's more energy from other times. So that's why it created a Category 4 hurricane. Category 5 hurricane. Yeah, made a Category 5 hurricane Milton, and that's what's kind of interesting about that. So as we go more into that, we get more interesting stuff, like we start working on much more information about how the storms form and this energy stays up. So that was how Milton became Category 5. Already strong in as a Category 3 to 4 in the Gulf of Mexico. South Gulf of Mexico. Powered it up. Made landfall in Tampa and St. Petersburg, Sarasota. A Category 3 hurricane. That's how we know about that, basically. So we can know about that, how it happened, basically. Like, how it all happened, basically. So as we look more into that, we figure out how it happened, how those storms have formed. So basically, we get more information. We get a lot more information about that stuff going on, and that information is from the power of the storm. So that's important. So as we get more into stuff like that, we get more complex with this stuff. We get more interesting, and yeah, we get a lot more interesting in fact. We get interesting than usual. So that's what's also important about that. I've been looking more into storms like that. That's how we know stuff like that. So its path was where my mouse was. Look at my mouse. Hostile winds pushed it up northeast into Sarasota, across, up a bit north, behind, under, and below Daytona Beach. And that's what caused those storms to happen. That's what caused the path of destruction. And that destruction is powerful. So that's why we look more into the powerful storms. And I'm going to tell you guys something. You know that those storms go in alphabetical order, basically. So that's how we look more into, like, yeah, it goes in alphabetical order. So when it's a really strong storm, major hurricane, and we don't name it and use it again because it's too strong to be used. Like Sandy will never be used again. It was a major hurricane. It was category. It was category 3. So that's what we know to work it out on that. So that's what's important also to know. So that's what we work on. We work on basically the North America. I work on North America. I don't work on I work on the whole continent basically. I don't start working on Asia, Africa. I look on North America's continent and South American continent only because it's the Americas. So basically, that's how we look more into hurricanes. Okay, now let's go to Helen. It started up where Ian had started, and it went up north in between Cuba and Honduras, and it went straight up, and then pushed northeast, whatever, north. It went up into Tallahassee, went through Georgia, southeast from Atlanta, up, and then went straight up, went to Tennessee, and then it died there. It died up on top of Tennessee. So that's what you know about the storm so far. But that's all I'm gonna tell you for now. So I want to tell you those two storms and how it happened. Basically, because of the strength of it, and that strength of it can cause a lot of stuff to happen. Basically, so when we have those strengthening storms happen, it gets interesting. Basically, that's how we know that's how we know the storms are strong. Basically. And when we get those strong storms in our area, we start to have more climate change. That's what causes it. Climate change, like I talked about before yesterday. By the way, that climate change is never rare for sure. So when we start to look more into the storms that happen, like when we look more into storms, that's when we get more interesting information. Like we're mostly gonna get information about how it's powered, how it forms and everything. And when we know how it forms, that's what's important. It's important that you know how storms form, because then you're not gonna know when it can form. You're not gonna know warnings about that. You get warnings, but you're not gonna know how the warnings start do its job and how it works. Like for example, flash flood warnings, not flooding crazy. It's just normal flooding basically. Not even normal flooding. It's like I'd say 55% flooding. In emergency, definitely a flood. An example in Ida over here in New Jersey, we got a whole emergency across the region, and that caused destruction. And when we had those emergencies, there was flooding. There was also not that high winds. There was up to 3 feet flooding, which is what I know. So that's what you can figure out basically. But yeah, basically when you're like thinking about that, how it all starts and happens, that's what's important to know, because it can be severe sometimes, it can never be severe sometimes. Sometimes it's just a storm, and sometimes it's just water. It's nothing about it. Like the wind and everything. So that's something that you can understand. And when we figure that out, then that's what's more important and more better to know. So that's what's actually even it's actually more different to know basically. So that's what we can figure out by looking at those storms, that energy that goes inside of them. It's actually not rare. It never is rare. Because storms are usual things. Another thing that you could also know is how they would form and how they start forming. Let's stay in this area where we are, okay? Um, you know that there's storms here. As because we have a storm right now in the Northeast region, in the um, New England Northeast regions, and that is actually a normal storm that came across. Look at those winds. Look at those winds. You see how they go? It's like it can be left off from a storm. That could be also a left off storm. So that's also what it could be. So we don't have to like start always focusing on that. But as for now, we don't have to focus on it too much. But as we get more into the season, then we can start focusing on it more. Like we definitely get a lot more definitely starts. We definitely get directors in the area. Definitely the Midwest area, like in Iowa and Cedar Rapids, we've had a lot of storms like that. So that's what another thing to know. And then it's down here in the mountains. It says no tropical cyclones. That means as for now, there's no tropical cyclones going on in the area. So that's a good thing to know. So you don't have to like know how to do it and what to do during the storm. But the retros are very severe. They are one of the most severe storms. Like they cause tornadoes, supercells, reach up to miles and miles per hour of wind. So that's also important to know about these storms. And these storms that go on, they're actually very interesting because we get much more, in fact, flooding. Flooding, of course, happens, and that flooding can be from anything, really. It can be from anything. It can be from the heat, the moisture. Moisture causes a lot of things because that moisture has water vapor in it. That's why it gets very humid. You sweat a lot. That's why it gets warm and you sweat a lot. So that's what we need to know to figure out stuff like that. So then we're not wondering how to do it and how we use it and how over here in our channel. So that's what's important to know. So as we figure out more important stuff that happens, we're gonna look more into snowstorms that can happen. Those snowstorms start happening. We look more into severe storms. Because winter, there can not only just be like a few little storms that go on. There could also be snowstorms, and that's not rare because snowstorms alerts can go up to any time. Really, they can gain up and go up to anywhere. So that's why it's important to know about that. So as we look more into that, you figure more out how it happens and how it all starts, in fact. So that's important. That's something important. And as we look into more important facts about that, that's where we get more information. And all that information comes from, it can come from anywhere, really. It could come from no source, come from any source, or it could just be normal. It just comes from nature, basically. So that's what we could focus on more about that. I like that. That's what I like to talk about a lot. Really talk about that. So, basically, as we look and stuff like that, I'm gonna say I've looked into more severe storms, derechos. Derechos are probably once or twice a year. Twice is a bit rare. Because derechos don't happen that often because they're so strong. That's the fact it makes it rare. But hurricanes happen in the summer often, which is crazy. It's very weird. Stronger than derechos for sure. Major hurricanes even stronger. It's always gonna be stronger though. So that's one thing to know. Also, so you don't have to like ask them, worry about that and stuff. So as we look more into stuff like that, we get more information about that. So we normally know what to do and stuff like that, and situations like that also. And when we get into more situations like that, we also figure out how the retros form. So we're gonna look more into that, and that'll be today's video on the retros. So goodbye.